on down by the bay. Welcome to USL Championship action on a Sunday night. Rhode Island FC and Monterey Bay will give this a bit of a nautical feel to close the weekend. Cardinale Stadium playing host to two teams trying to make up some ground after watching the other 22 teams in the league feature yesterday. With Ricky Lopez, Aspen, Mike Watts on hand. Welcome to the championship, Rhode Island. They wanted a goal, they wanted a point, they got both, and they did so rather dramatically.
And we had the ability to talk with Connor Smith, and he said, look, we gained confidence from this game because we know now that we can compete in USL Championship. And he did say that he thought that they deserved a little bit more with the talent that they came on this roster. Expect them to be extremely motivated here in Monterey Bay.
Ultimately, this would be deemed a Chris Gloucester own goal, the first goal in Rhode Island history. The fans truly don't care. They do get a point right near the death. They're hoping to get a lot of goals from this guy. Last year in Pittsburgh, league MVP and the Golden Boot winner.
Just a special player. He's going to stay high. He's going to occupy the center backs for Monterey Bay. But how clinical can he be in the 18-yard box? And the second question for Connor Smith is, what does his service look like to Albert Dico? Because he's shown that he can find the back of the net, and his movement in around the 18-yard box is very good for a striker.
Chico makes his 150th appearance in the championship tonight. Now for Monterey Bay, this is a team that came off a really good week. The draw against El Paso, the win against Phoenix on home ground. That's something to build on.
And I do think if you told Frank Yalt that you would take 4 points from the first 2 games, he would have signed up for that. And he said, look, there's just more trust between my players and myself, because I understand what they want and they understand what I need. When you talk about this Monterey Bay side, how quickly can they get in a rhythm? The first 10 to 15 minutes, Mike, is going to be very important.
And Rafael Baca had the winner in this game. That earns him Player of the Week nod. It's a guy Frank Yalt knows very well. Speaking with Connor Smith, Rhode Island head coach, you have to find a way to make him sacrifice service either into him or close it coming out.
And everything that he does is so special for Monterey Bay, with the ability to dictate tempo, to find passes, to break lines. Everything that they do through the middle of the park is going to go through Baca. How good can he be? If he's on the ball early and often, it's going to be a very good day for the home side.
All right, Union ready to welcome Rhode Island FC. The first road trip for this new expansion team with lofty aspirations, dropping anchor at Cardinale Stadium in Seaside. From coast to coast, it's the game to watch in the championship tonight. Monterey Bay and Rhode Island FC are coming up next.
Let's go! I'm about to make my grand entrance.
Do you want to go to the game tonight? Yeah!
Let's go! I am the future, yeah. I am the future, yeah. Let's go. I am the future, yeah. 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 Let's go. I am the future, yeah. I am the
Montage Health, your hometown team.
Run it. I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then I go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then I go off.
Welcome back to the USL Championship on this Sunday evening from Monterey Bay, Seaside, California. Rhode Island FC pay a visit, their first ever road game at Cardinale Stadium. Gorgeous afternoon out on the West Coast with Ricky Lopez, Aspen. Like Watts on hand, beach seems pretty appealing right now. So too does Monterey Bay lineup that doesn't have to change.
I think you look at the center of the park for Frank Baca and Fair. What does that relationship look like? But Chuy Enriquez and Reblar, they can have the ability to switch and change. Archimed, he's going to stay high. He's going to occupy the two center backs. And Dixon, what does his relationship look like? He has the freedom to roam as he sees fit, whether it's centrally and whether it's on the wide areas. Guzman and Green need to stay compact and keep everything in front of them.
So Frank Yallop unchanged. Rhode Island was hoping to make as few a number of changes as possible under Cano Smith. They did have to make one, however.
And McGlynn, he's going to be the one that's going to sit right next to Brito. So you're going to see Ibarra maybe slide in a little bit higher. But I'm going to look at the relationship between Albert Diko and Noah Fuson. What does that relationship look like? Because Fuson can play central and he can play in the wide areas. Stoneman and Yao. That relationship needs to be very compact in terms of having the balance as one of the outside backs releases high.
And no Clay Holstad, a player that Frank Yallop was really high on. Former second-round pick of Columbus Crew. Hard not to be excited about this game. There's plenty of firepower and plenty of reasons to think we should have quite the finale to the USL Championship weekend. Rhode Island are officially taking their show on the road. They visit Monterey Bay. You know, the fun part of talking to Frank Yallop is that he's been in every division. He's been through a number of clubs in various iterations, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Ball picked up by Baca, rolled ahead. Dixon got by Baca. It's still on here. And a turning shot peppered from Fair into Koke. But this is Rhode Island team at the very beginning, and because Brent Johnson was part of the group that hired Frank Yallop in Phoenix when they initially went from Arizona United to Phoenix Rising, well, you've got a connection there between Cano Smith and Frank Yallop that was orchestrated, one that was helpful for both sides to an extent. Also a Rhode Island team that can take from the lessons of what Cano learned in Birmingham, what Frank Yallop described from his first 2 years here in Monterey.
And we had the chance to talk to both of the managers, and just widely respected from both sides. Obviously, Cano Smith talked to Frank Yallop on how to build something from the ground up, because Frank Yallop did this exact same thing with Monterey Bay. They said they haven't talked too much on the lead up to this match, but after might have a nice glass of wine or something, Mike.
Yeah. Sounds like a good time. That is Mark Ibarra over the ball, who was acquired after 2 years in Pittsburgh. It'll be Quizera. Quizera to the back post. Appeal from Stoneman. Monterey Bay will send it away, and sure, no corner. Koke spent the past few years in San Diego playing for Nate Miller and Landon Donovan. Paired again with Grant Stoneman. Combined for a pretty strong, loyal defense last year.
Going to be very interesting if you're Monterey Bay. What does the relationship on the front line look like with Reblar and Enriquez? Frank Yallop loves that Reblar is very direct and has the ability just to stretch opposition with his runs. So Chuy Enriquez, what does his spacing look like underneath Archimed? And that relationship needs to be very good for Frank Yallop early on here.
Dropped off to Yao, 23-year-old who hails from Montreal. Out by Fuson. Lifted away from Dixon. Martinez. Now from Yao. Chuy Enriquez was in some doubt for this game, and that would have led to a pretty remarkable shifting of players around the field. There's so much versatility. All Karam straight back. There's still work to be done for Rhode Island. Struck on the first time, and Alex Dixon can't make much of it. Then Moby Fair inching back off to the right.
Rhode Island having a very difficult time just trying to play out of the back. You have to read every situation. Yes, you want to play to your game plan, your identity, which is possession-based, but there's nothing wrong with just playing direct and a little bit and gaining some real estate higher up the field. Decision-making, especially so early on in the game on the road for center backs, is so important.
Now from Yao, falls kindly toward Turnbull. Still on Brito. Turnbull to the end line, kept that in somehow. Wins the throw for Rhode Island. A draw opening night against New Mexico for Rhode Island. They've talked a lot about character. Welcome to the chance at a first signature road win, something Cano Smith remembers fondly from Birmingham. It was a win in Louisville, a game that had to be postponed overnight due to torrential rain and thunderstorms. This is a foul and a free kick for the roadside, seated by Rebel R.
Very interesting pickup in the offseason for Rhode Island. Turnbull, that's an outside back. He gives you the ability just to be an outlet and to be an option going forward. Very comfortable on the ball and has a lot of quality in the final third. Already 6 minutes in. A really good opportunity for Rhode Island. Just to ask a question of Siaha and the goalkeeper for Monterey Bay.
Zara, we got to put it in the field of play to have a chance.
And those are so tricky for a goalkeeper. If you aim for that far post and get it on target, any sort of deflection and end up in the back of the net, big opportunity missed for the visitors.
Well, you can see the wind is whipping in that direction as well, left to right on your screen, to the point where the corner flag is actually tilted at a 45-degree angle down there. So the wind at the back of Rhode Island as they attack in this first half. Oh, ripped free by Maury Donor. Couldn't hold it up though. Ibarra and Rhode Island try to put their foot on it a bit. Lost a touch in front of Chuy Enriquez. That's a 15-yard penalty. And an automatic free kick.
Clear foul from Darce. No play on the ball whatsoever. Takes down Archimed. Had a really good conversation with Frank Yalp about Archimed as well. He said he just deserved more minutes in USL Championship.
Brito put it wide. Dequa out of reach. You know, in Sacramento, such a unique situation because so much of their offense has come from Russell Cicerone over the years. They brought in Douglas Martinez. They brought in another forward last year. Luther Archimed just never really found his role there.
And I do think you talk about a manager like Frank Yalp, he's going to instill confidence in players, right? That you understand you deserve this opportunity to go out and make it yours. So, third game of the season for Monterey Bay. Big opportunity for Archimed to really put his stamp on this side and just make that position his. As a player, all you can ask for is an opportunity. Frank Yalp has deservingly given that to Luther Archimed.
Stoneman. Darce put under pressure. And an early talking to. Smooth like Vandross.
Bit overzealous here, Archimed. Maybe a little bit of retaliation moments ago between Darce and Archimed.
You always remembered those,
Oh,
right?
always. As a player, you understand. You know who gets you. Trying to get one back.
Becerra was able to keep it in, making the run down the line, offering a service that sort of wiggled in the air and comes down to Siaha.
About 10 minutes in, been very impressed with Rhode Island just to balance in the middle of the field. As Brito advances a little bit higher, you see Ibarra or McGlynn drop back and provide that coverage. Becerra has been very active on that far side. Great ball.
And Dixon overcooked it out wide. Had Enriquez running out there.
And those are the spots that if you are Monterey Bay, you need to get Dixon in between lines facing forward. Just lacking that last bit of execution because he had Chewy Enriquez and acres of space on that weak side.
And that's the guy you want to get off his game, Alex Dixon. You look at what he did for Monterey Bay last year. Enormous season, 12 goals, a couple assists too, and he's been a good assist man in years past.
And we mentioned it in the open mic. Obviously, Connor Smith said, look, we have to cut the supply to Baca and Alex Dixon. Those are the two players that he really highlighted and said they're special for Monterey Bay. And what Frank Yap likes to do goes through those two players. So how do we stop them and get them off their game?
Baca, a big part of getting out of that finger trap. Turnbull. Well, Rhode Island's getting the whole experience right off the bat. Come here to Monterey Bay after their first game as a club a week ago. They'll go to Tampa Bay, then they'll host Charleston, and they'll host Pittsburgh.
Nice little warm welcome to USL Championship.
You know, I think back to Hartford. They didn't have their venue ready yet. They were playing at UConn's football stadium, to make a New England reference of sorts. They got 8 straight games all on the road against playoff opponents and lost all 8. So Rhode Island's already off to a better start than Hartford. That's not really the point. The league is, for whatever reason, not giving the benefit of the doubt to the new teams. Fair the foul.
It's a little bit overzealous. Moby Fair. But it's not the best of balls from Grant Stoneman with the player coming to the backside of Brito there. Talk about decision making for 2 center backs. You want to break that initial line of pressure because you have Ibarra and McGlynn in those half pockets of space. Because as Moby Fair, steps off a line, that leaves Baca on an island. So there is an overload elsewhere. If you're Rhode Island, how do you find that overload? That's going to be the question to unbalance the midfield trio.
Ball centered up here. Maybe something for Rhode Island. Back heel. It's McGlynn. He knows he can hit it much better than that, but Siaha is saved the exasperation of trying to get to McGlynn at his best. And Yao is down.
Just watch Ibarra, a little peek over the left shoulder before he gets the ball. It's a first pass forward, and Fuson does very well. He draws out Kai Green with him. The cutback, McGlynn just doesn't have the whippage on it to find that far post, mishits it.
Yellow card to Luther Archimed. Full senior international for Guadalupe. You know, well, it wasn't always working with Sacramento. That 2022 Open Cup run, he was a real hero all the way to the final with the Republic.
And he can give you just many looks, whether it's a hold-up number 9, a target number 9, but also has the ability to spin into the channel and be a willing runner.
Well, here's Dixon into the channel. Ball clipped over by Enriquez. And Donor, tad slow to make a move on it. Becerra really has been everywhere. He'll continue that marauding run. What a ball to Dequa. Dequa cut back. His 150th game in the league. He dropped it off, but it's straight to Rebel R. Taken back, Quizera. McGlynn. Navigating inward, now Kai Green got it out.
As this game starts to open up for both sides, how clean can you be in the final third? Well, there was Chuy Enriquez for Monterey Bay. Just that first touch lets him down. On the other side of it, if you're Albert Dequa, we talked about him in the Open Golden Boot last season. One of, if not the top free agent. You want him to express himself and take his player on.
I would think the top two on the board over the offseason are top three. You've got Aaron Malloy, Albert Dequa, and Arturo Ordonez, maybe.
I agree with you 100%.
MVP Defender of the Year, and arguably the best creative midfielder in the league, and all switch teams. Two of them left Pittsburgh to do it.
It says a lot about Bob Lilly's side last year as well.
Well, it says a lot about the fact that he always gets talent picked off. Everyone wants a piece of what the Riverhounds were cooking after winning the Shield. Remember, Martinez couldn't advance, and Dequa continued to push. Archimed was in an offside position. Martinez. Game of hacky sack finds McGlynn. McGlynn, another of the Rhode Island players. There's a trio today that could have a bit of a milestone occasion today. Dequa's 150th appearance. McGlynn is 100th. Prince Sadie is available off the bench, could make his 100th appearance. You know, Rhode Island feels like they learned something from Cano Smith's past at Birmingham. Getting MLS guys in their 30s on the downslope does not make you a better player for this league. And going out and getting a guy like McGlynn, they still think there's a lot of undiscovered capability in him, because they felt like Hartford wasn't using him in the right position.
And he was very quick to point out that he saw him as a center midfielder. Yes, last season, McGlynn was more of a center back kind of, but he has the ability to play on both sides of the ball. His passing range.
Siaha had to come out and get there. He did, with Dequa shadowing.
And also the ability to have that final action, right? How many goals did we see in his career from distance? The ability to test goalkeepers. And talking about what you mentioned about Cano Smith, and he said we wanted players that had experience in USL, that had success in USL as well, because we all know USL is a completely different animal. The travel, the difficult environments, the different environments. So what does it mean to be a successful USL player? And that's kind of was the foundation of building this roster from the ground up.
Free kick to Monterey Bay. And what's more, Connor McGlynn was at arguably the least stable environment in the championship these last few years at Hartford. And believe you me, the fans at Hartford were crushed to see Connor McGlynn move north. Should tell Rhode Island a lot about what they're getting.
I think he's going to be a massive part in the center of the pitch for Rhode Island. in this 2024 campaign.
Harry Watling liked him, and central midfield used him a lot there. Header away. I'll skip over Dixon. Still it's Monterey Bay. It's Rebelar. Second home game this year for Monterey Bay. First road game for Rhode Island FC. This all part of USL Kickoff, presented by Terminix. Throughout the month of March, as teams begin this arduous 8-month campaign. It seemed like Archimed was on the turn. It was simply out of his reach.
Once again, Moby Fair and Rafael Baca having a very good time at just winning those initial balls in a central location, and their first look is always forward. I asked Frankie Alp on our phone call, said, what was the keys for your side to be successful? And he said 2 things. We want Baca and Fair to join the attack from a deep lying position. Watch out.
Well, they got it here. Ball line to cross, goal! Dixon, but it's offside. It will not count. The goal wiped off. Quick restart. What's this? Rebelar lays it off. Corner. What just happened? Genuinely, what just happened? That's wild.
We talked about Rafael Baca, how good is he as breaking line with his passing range and the vision. And as you look at the center of the screen, Alex Dixon just gets caught maybe a yard offside. A little bit early on his run, he's above the ball from Maury Donor, and that's what gets him caught offside. If there's no defender, you have to be behind the line of the ball.
Ball for the near post. I want to know why Monterey Bay got the ball back. Goodness gracious. Alexis De Silva oversees this group of championship officials. For Rhode Island, welcome to the league with no VAR as well. Ball brought down. Fusan by Siaha. It's kind of refreshing not to spend 5 minutes finding out whether or not that was a goal by 2.5 inches or not. I'm not sure Alex Dixon currently feels that way.
I think he thinks one's got stolen away from him. But it was just on the heels what I was talking about with Frank Yallop. So we won our double pivot, whether it was Baca on the ball right here and Moby Fair to be involved in the final third, but also just to create overloads on the wide areas. So that's why you start to see Alex Dixon.
Rebelar finding Dixon, surely onside this time. Dixon chipping. Falls to Baca. Back outside. Has the support. Dixon, flag is down. Sidestepping inward and finally dispossessed. Ball held up short of halfway, and Baca picked it up. Off the turn, Fair, joint leader in the league in shots. Decide to go wide to Donor, the marauding fullback. A throw. Fusan. A bit of a push.
Just need to be cleaner if you're Rhode Island. Too many times you're giving the ball extremely sloppy in the center of the park. But give credit to Frank Yalp and Monterey Bay. The counter press has been spectacular. 24 minutes here. 8 players in their attacking third, forcing turnovers, and yet again.
Bring this back for advantage. Better question, did it stay in? Surely it did. Dixon! Goal kick. And Alexis De Silva catching strays from everybody as Baca peels himself up off the ground.
Really good run from Baca. from a deep line position first. I thought that was a foul. You play advantage. Alex Dixon does it extremely well to keep it alive. If you're Connor Smith, watch everyone just getting caught on their heels, getting caught ball watching. Rafael Baca sneaks in, unable to get a clean contact on the ball. And those runs are just so difficult to pick up if you're a defensive structure. You need to have a lot of communication and passing players off.
Yao. Turnbull. Siaha. Baca. Fair. No foul. Taken by McGlynn. Brito appeals. Throw for Rhode Island. Rhode Island team already has the mark of a group that's clearly solidifying in real time. I appreciate that Frank Yallop sort of cautioned Cano Smith. Don't go take a chance on a guy that you don't think fits just to fill out your roster year one. Don't go lay out more money for a guy that won't fit your culture. And to the fans, he suggests being patient, and that's something that Rhode Island, when you bring in the caliber of player you did, I don't think they'll have to be patient that long. They'll need to be patient nevertheless.
You see the foundation is there.
Yeah.
The talent, the identity, the willingness to fight together. And Connor Smith said last time out against New Mexico, yes, we get the goal at the dying minutes, but it was from top to bottom, on the field or off the field, in the offices. The coaching staff really took a whole collective effort, and that's what he really felt and was proud about in that last performance. And this Turnbull just gets caught a little bit over eager to win this ball from Rebelar. Little skill as well to pop it up to himself.
Foul from Turnbull nevertheless. Although I do remember speaking as Burke Bakai, the governor, for quite some time at Phoenix Rising alongside Frank Yallop. When Arizona United became Phoenix Rising, they built their own modular stadium. They used stands from the Phoenix Open to do it. They said it was 40 days from tumbleweeds to rough and tumble. Look where they are now. Ball sprayed ahead and grabbed by Koke. That's a poor giveaway. Dixon almost didn't seem to expect it to fall to him.
You just saw the wind take that ball. It's a good idea from Chuy Enriquez just to put it over the top. Does not take account for it. This is the win, and that gives Cruzeiro the ability to double down and just pick the pocket of Moridona.
By Baca. See this successful intervention from Monterey Bay. Archimed ran parallel in an offside position, regrettably.
It's been a very good line for Rhode Island. As they step in unison, they drop in unison. The second time now in the last 10 minutes that we've seen in Monterey Bay. Player just get caught offside. The timing just isn't there at the moment for the home side. But give credit to Cano Smith, to Grant Stoneman and Yao. Very good in their positioning.
Arrived here a couple days ago. A familiar little bit with each other, and you know, you can think about it all you want, but actually getting on the plane, and it is not the most simple locale to get to, Monterey Bay. Baca poked it forward, prodded wide. That's going to skip over the foot of a leaping Dixon.
There's just no need to lift the ball as well. You see Alex Dixon extremely frustrated, just played into his feet on the ground. It's the second time now that Chuy Enriquez has made the wrong decision, trying to lift the ball instead of just punching it on the turf.
A couple of times where it feels like the ball's just sort of lagged a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes start of the year, right? You've sort of reupholstered things a little bit over the offseason.
Once the last domino to fall is the final third. Scoring goals in our sport is the hardest thing to do.
True enough. That's an epic control and turn bowl. Into the area, touched across Brito. Won't be Dequa. Good intervention by Kai Green. Darce held it up. Fuson played over, that's a foul. Moby Fair.
And we've talked about the ability to break that initial line of pressure. Watch the body control from Brito, and then the vision. The continuation of his run. But if you know Fuson on that far end, you need to have a secondary action, because if you do, you can get yourself into that final third. And Brito gets caught by Moby Fair. And Brito's been very active in that final third, making those runs from a number 10 position.
Dequa, while all that was going on, joining the all-face gift team, turning his head to the side, couldn't quite believe the conversation the official was having with Fair. Back heel. This could do some damage. Return to Dequa. It's really fine. Siaha. Fuson deflects toward Dequa. It's out of his reach. It will be a corner. It felt like it could have been much more. The former Utah Valley player plays senior year for Kyle Beckerman. He's got a long way to go to catch his follicles. You at RSL with Beckerman, yeah?
One of my fond memories, the moment I got drafted about an hour after, get a call from Kyle Beckerman. No name. Hello, who is this? Welcome to the team, bud. Take that as a memory.
Hey, you're only 350 appearances away. You'll get
yeah,
there, kiddo.
Exactly.
Corner for Rhode Island. They've gone short. Turnbull. This is off the training ground. Whipped over Quizera. And a corner to come from the other side. And again, the wind will drag this in toward goal.
There's also just a little bit too much air underneath it, because as you lift it extremely high, you give Siaha the ability to read the flight. Good defending in the end from Kai Green, just to put it out for another corner. You see Ibarra there just signaling for everyone to crash right in front of Siaha. So this ball is going to be coming right on top of that 6-yard box to cause chaos and confusion. If you're Siaha, you have to be very certain and very secure in your decision here.
Ibarra swinging in. Siaha waved at it, got enough. Another corner. It's a barrage from Rhode Island.
Exactly what I mentioned. Hard to that far post. A lot of pace. You let the wind do its thing. Confident goalkeeping up and away. Never back into traffic.
Another Rhode Island corner, and this one caught the jet stream. Approaching halftime this afternoon in California. Foul won by Revelar. Seen cards given for less. Actually, now I've seen cards given for less on this too. Smith pulling out to send this down the line. They've advanced another 25 yards with it. Turnbull. Fuson. All driven back in. Had her speared away from Dixon. Dixon didn't make any contact.
Watch out.
And that's going to come to the card. That is an automatic. Brito yellow in the 38th.
Hartford, Rhode Island feels hard done by here on this one. They think Alex Dixon catches Yao, and it's a frustration. No intent on the ball whatsoever from Brito. Comes in very late. Deservingly sees yellow. It's a hard and rash challenge for number 18.
Brito starred at Omaha the last 2 years. Goes into the book. You can see Rhode Island chirping here with the referee, trying to get some more, in their opinion, even justice.
I definitely see the argument, because Alex Dixon just does catch Yao.
I mean, it sure looked like he got him.
Yeah, the ref doesn't call it. And that man definitely catches Alex Dixon on the retaliation.
Still holding on to that left arm. Brito will walk it off. That is injury to insult. The 25-year-old. Yeah, I love the commentary on Brito and his signing. Yeah, I thought he was a great player, but it was also, in Cano Smith's estimation, respect to the USL ecosystem, because if you're good enough to be all-league in League One, why should you not get your chance in the championship? And he's run with that chance in the early going.
Totally agree. It's the reason why you have the League One, right? The ability to pump players into the championship. You excel at one level, you deserve a promotion, so to say.
Ah, now I know where you stand on the hottest hot button issue in American footy.
I'd love to see it.
Agreed. I actually was not such a big proponent earlier in my career.
Really?
This comes back to Siaha, and there's Baca. Didn't know that the infrastructure was there yet.
Yeah.
But I think now with a clearly defined first, second, and third division, it is.
I agree with that.
Ultimately, soccer without pro-rel is better than no soccer. And there was a time where this division was not structurally sound enough to handle that. Yeah. I think we're there now. Rhode Island more the ball. It's been a fairly even game chance-wise as we approach halftime tonight. Well, tonight in Rhode Island terms, this afternoon in Monterey Bay's.
Just hasn't been clean enough for both sides in the final third. This game has been very cagey in the center part of the field. Whether it's a ball that doesn't find its intended target or a sloppy touch.
March kinks that need to be ironed out. So many coaches will use that 10-game barometer. You think that's about right?
I agree with that, yeah. 100%.
That's when you start to get a grip.
Great ball.
Fuson, that's excellent. Dequa! Rhode Island gets the goal from the Golden Boot winner. Their big-ticket acquisition comes up big on the road. And Rhode Island has dropped anchor in Monterey Bay with an enormous goal, and the first by one of their own.
A player that can create for himself, but also bring players into the game. You talk about a pass that can break lines. He takes about 7 Monterey Bay players out of this game. Brilliant first touch from Albert Dequa. Thank you very much. Straight through the wickets. Off to the corner to celebrate. First on the season. Albert Dequa. And that's what you bring in, a player that quality. Clinical in that 18-yard box. What about that ball from Noah Fuson? The vision, the technical ability, the right pace, and the right weight. Rhode Island have the lead here on the road.
You know, the interesting part about Albert Dequa exploding for 20 goals last year is that if you look at his previous 6 years in the league combined, he had only scored 21. I mean, that is an unbelievable turnaround. That was 125 games where he managed 21 goals. So it's the youth. He was the youngest guy at OCB, Orlando City B, coming out of Montford Academy, right? It's expectation. It's not having the pieces around you. So you go to St. Louis. That's not a high-scoring team. That is all the work and none of the glory. And then you show up in Pittsburgh, and it was finally a match made in heaven. So it was last year, or arguably the last 2 years. He had 11 the year prior. Is that the aberration? Or was the beginning of his career in a series of difficult systems to be a big scorer in the aberration?
I think for a striker, right, a lot of it depends on the system that you play in. Yes, you understand, I need to work hard to get myself into more advantageous positions.
Turnbull was offside.
But as a striker, how confident can you be when you give that belief system? And I do think that was so important when we talked with Frank Yallo at Archimed. He said, I'm just going to give him the opportunity to make this position his. The same thing with Albert Dequa. Bob Lilly gave him the opportunity because you knew the intangibles were there, the ability to run and stretch opposition. And when he got in front of goal, the composure, because you cannot teach that as a number 9. talked about his success last season, so you knew he was always going to have maybe a little bit of a chip or target on his shoulder to say, how do I better that? Because you always want to take a step forward as a player. Really good start in game number 2 for Rhode Island. First goal for Albert Dequa.
And the first lead in Rhode Island history, and a free kick for Monterey Bay to try and equal that out before halftime. He's been impressive. I've enjoyed Quizera. I've enjoyed Fuson. That ball he played, exquisite.
I mean, you look at a player that was on the books for Columbus Crew 2. Last season, 10 goals and 5 assists in MLS Next Pro, was a massive part of what they did to get back into the MLS Next Pro final. Didn't really get a look with the first team, so what is the next step for him? Make your name here in USL Championship, and in game 2, paying Connell Smith a lot of credit for what he's put on when he walked across that white line.
Wait till J.J. Williams takes the field, too. You've got another stud goal scorer. Prince Sadie on the bench tonight. Free kick, Monterey Bay. So we enter stoppage time. Bouncing ball that goes in. Monterey Bay are equal. And it's Guzman with his first goal for the Union. The lead lasts for all of 4 minutes.
As Martinez stands over this ball with the in-swinger, it's always going to be a big test for Coque Vegas with the oncoming traffic. Brilliant teasing ball. And Guzman does what a center back needs to do in that instance, just get clean contact. You're about 6 yards out, put it on target, you give yourself a chance. A play that Frank Yelp spoke highly about when he comes over from the San Diego Loyal. The ability to play with the ball at his feet, but also contribute in the final third. Draws this thing even right before halftime.
It's another healthy goal brought to you by Taylor Farms. That off the mark from Dequa. Oh, would you look at that? We've got a barn burner to close the weekend in the league.
Would you expect anything else?
Absolutely not.
But we've seen 2 incredible balls, one from Fuson and the second from Walmart Martinez, putting it on a plate for someone just to get on the end of it.
Good release here. Turnbull. He's going to run all the way to Siaha over Fuson. Guzman's last goal in the league actually was against Monterey Bay. That was, again, with San Diego. Just the guy they thought could help, especially with the absence of Hugh Roberts. Monterey Bay really had that as their cornerstone the first 2 years. He ends up going back to the East Coast over the offseason.
I think you look at the relationship between Guzman and Kai Green. Kai Green has a little bit more of the athletic ability to track down runners to win the aerial duels, and Guzman is more of a ball-playing center back. So they understand each other and they complement each other extremely well.
Given away here, it's a matter of seconds remaining. That's gonna hang. Keeper's lost. Ball chipped toward goal. Wide. Oh, wow, Coque got totally mixed up. The wind likely played a role. It held the ball up in the air, and Archimed just missed the chip that would have turned this whole thing around.
For your goalkeeper, decision-making is one of, if not the most important thing. If you come off your line, you need to be extremely sure that you're going to make any sort of play on this ball, wind or not. Not good enough from Coque Vegas. And Archimed, see the frustration. You get it on target. Get your first goal. Big opportunity missed for the striker from Monterey Bay.
Is there one more chance here before the break? This spinning all the way toward the line. Rounding the corner, angling in. Enriquez, end line, out of room. And likely out of time. Well, now we're cooking with gas. Halftime. in Seaside, 1-1.
Game woke up the last 10 minutes of that first half. We talked about how cagey it was in the center of the park, but was always going to have who's going to be more clinical when you get higher up the field. Koke Vegas needs to be a little bit better in terms of his decision making, but also for Frank Yallop. Get Baca and Fair on the ball. Connell Smith, you need to get Guizera and Dikwa. You know how dynamic those two can be.
Guzman, the equalizer for Monterey Bay after the opener from Albert Dikwa. And this really started to catch fire late in the half. Hopefully portends a good second half to come. Tonight's halftime is presented by Integris Wealth Management. Look around the league, highlights, stats, and more coming up on the other side of the break.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Montrio, Tarpe's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean fresh sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance? Call Coast Auto Insurance to receive a free quote and see how much you could save. Coast works with over 50 different insurance companies to make sure you get the best rate for your car, motorcycle, home, or business. Coast is a local company with local people. We do vehicle registration, SR22, and insurance for Mexico. Call Coast Auto Insurance today for a free quote and see how much we can save you. Or go to coastautoinsurance.com, where your peace of mind is guaranteed.
SeatGeek is the ticketing app for fans like the high five strangers got, game-winning interception, first down, just a nice solid tackle. If you're in arm's length, you will be swapping skin with this extrovert. You see, he knows SeatGeek got him a great deal on tickets, so he can focus on what he does best, smacking palms. SeatGeek handles the tickets to sports, concerts, and more, so fans can fan.
Welcome back to Seaside, California, and the USL Championship on this Sunday afternoon. Monterey Bay and Rhode Island. Halftime is presented by Integris Wealth Management. Mike and Ricky to walk you through some of the action of recent days. How about we start with a matchup of Goliaths in the Eastern Conference. For whatever reason, Pittsburgh has always had Louisville's number in the regular season. It would be Louisville's day. Certainly Wilson Harris, then Tosh from the spot. Kizza would find a goal in the middle to make it 1-1, but Serrano would put it to bed.
And you look at the way that Lou City went about their business, the ability to find that final action on Tosh, locked in, tucked in. Did I say it right, Mike?
Yes.
And then this was a brilliant move here from Serrano. The composure, the quality, and the final touch. When you talk about Danny Cruz, just a professional performance from Lou City.
Serrano, excellent, sitting Dick down and giving Louisville a 3-1 win. Charleston made quick work of New Mexico, and all 4 goals were gorgeous, but Arturo Rodriguez, this spectacular, Aaron Malloy too.
You talk about the talent that Ben Pyramid has at their disposal, especially in the final third. The ability to score just worldies. Whether it was Martinic, whether it was Rodriguez, Malloy from the spot, and also Jackson Conway. He's going to be a big part of what Charleston Battery does in 24.
No doubt. So Charleston 4-0 over New Mexico. How about Phoenix and Oakland? The goal would come from Panos Armenakis, but it wasn't for lack of Blanchett playing the wall.
Followed the wall. He knows he make big-time saves, but Armenakis, brilliant team goal from Phoenix Rising. They needed that, but that needs some help, Mike.
You know, sometimes even the player knows when they got it wrong. When Carlos Asacar, the former Oakland Root, finding Armenakis, that's what it looks like post-game. But then you get to the locker room and you see the video of it, and even Panos is like, bruh, that ain't it.
Hey, the intent was there. The execution was lacking. Can you do better?
Me?
Yes, you.
No. All right. Armanakis. That was disgusting. Your word, not mine. Here's a look at the scoreboard from yesterday. Rowdies end up only taking a point against North Carolina FC, the League One winner that ultimately came up this year back to the championship. Sacramento drops points to Indy 11. There's a lot of points that hit the cutting room floor. And how about Hartford beating Birmingham? Great start for them.
Brandenburg, a complete flip in Hartford Athletic in Detroit. They're taking down Loudoun United. Ryan Martin has a lot of talent at his disposal as well. Players that are scoring for fun, but give credit to Detroit. They take all 3 points.
They did. They trailed that game, ultimately came from behind out west. A couple of set-piece goals were critical. Orange County 2-2 come back against Miami on 2 occasions. Brooklyn at this stage, 2025. They will join the championship, not League One. The Super League team debuts later this year on Coney Island. King Kenny, now second all-time, makes his 265th appearance yesterday and his 195th with the Riverhounds. That's now the joint record, while Baca and Yallop get all the praise. Player and Coach of the Week after knocking off the reigning champ Phoenix. Got plenty more action coming up here in Seaside, and the goals you don't want to miss. Quite the conclusion to the opening 45. Halftime brought to you by Integris Wealth Management. Back in the flat.
You'll get it done.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
You've given us a foundation to be proud of. We build on this now. This is it now, gents. This is us from now on.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Yeah, we running the game. We're coming in strong, and you will not forget it. We're here to take you on, and we can fight and we defend it. We never looking back. We focused on the road. We didn't come to play, and now we never let it go. Yeah, we want to take it higher.
Follow up in. Louisville level in the 70th. He puts it in. Indy 11 leads on the road.
Yeah, we want to take it higher.
Looks great. Oh.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Let's go. I'm about to make my grand entrance.
Do you want to go to the game tonight?
Let's go. I am the future. Yeah, I am the future. Yeah, let's go. I am the future. Yeah, 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 let's go. I am the future. Yeah, I am the
Montage Health, your hometown team.
Welcome back, Monterey Bay and Rhode Island squaring off on a Sunday. Integris Wealth Management brings you halftime. That's Ricky, Mike. How about we get caught up the upcoming schedule around the championship? Plenty to chat about. Golazzo Network's got Indy 11 and Detroit City next Saturday afternoon. Meanwhile, Louisville, Birmingham always seems to have a little extra juice, and this Rhode Island team's going to get a taste of a Rowdies team that have won 2 of the last 4 Eastern Conference crowns.
And that was going to be a big test for Connor Smith going into Al Lang. Miami FC, a completely different look for Miami FC. Taking a point against Orange County, they're going to welcome Charleston Battery. And North Carolina, they're hosting, much like Miami FC, a different look for Hartford Athletic.
And may we offer you some late action for your viewing pleasure. More Golazzo, that's Sacramento and Memphis. You can watch it on the CBS Sports app, Fubo TV, a lot of ways to get it. Phoenix, New Mexico, this renewed New Mexico side. Phoenix already a defeat early in the season. Monterey Bay will get a look at a San Antonio team that 2 years ago picked up the double.
And then you have Oakland Roots. They're hosting a different look for Las Vegas Lights, who got their first win under Dennis Sanchez and new ownership, taking down El Paso Locomotive. And by the way, El Paso Locomotive, they are in trouble.
Yeah, it's 4 games in, and suddenly things are not looking so rosy for the train in South Texas. Monterey Bay and Rhode Island, 1 goal apiece. Integris Wealth Management presented this halftime. Got highlights and the second half straight ahead in Seaside.
You get it, Doug.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Looks great.
When termites show up, so do we. Terminix it.
At Integris Wealth Management, we know what it takes to be a good teammate. For 25 years, we've been your trusted ally. We are local and independent. We care for our clients' money as if it were our own. We believe in doing the right thing and work together to find big wins for you. Integris Wealth Management. We turn values into action and champion livelihoods.
2 unique, distinct teams with nautical undertones. Monterey Bay and Rhode Island matching up here in Seaside. Integris Wealth Management presented your halftime, but we get caught up on first half highlights, of which thankfully there were many. But really it would start around the 40th minute with the actual goal scoring part of it. So this is a great ball ahead that finds Albert Dequa in position.
Just watch the run from Dequa, bottom of your screen, but even better ball from Tucson. The vision, the technical ability, and the pace to beat about 3 or 4 Monterey Bay defenders. Clinical finish, the reigning Golden Boot.
And in the first minute of stoppage time, Walmer Martinez, who played here at CSU Monterey Bay, the tap home from Guzman.
He puts the ball in a dangerous area. Good things happen. Guzman does just enough to put it on target. And Cote Vegas just gets caught in no man's land once again for the goalkeeper. 1-1. We walk into halftime.
Take a look at our halftime stats. And it sees this Monterey Bay team in possession of 7 of the 12 shots thus far, but Rhode Island in possession of more of the ball.
I do think if you're Conno Smith, how do you get more possession higher up the field? That's going to be the question in the second half, because the chances are there. You have the ability to break that initial pressure, and then you have an overload on the front line. For Monterey Bay and for Frank Delp, I do think the balance in the back line needs to be a little bit better in terms of Baca and Moby Fair. We need to see Baca get on the ball. We highlighted him in the open. We know how important he is for the home side.
Well, Baca is the one leading the huddle right now, but it's Galloway that's at the 4. He's come on as a substitute at halftime, the 22-year-old local product who went to Willamette University and on to ODU. Replaces Adrian Rebelar at halftime. Galloway trialed after playing with MBFC 2 previously, and now steps out onto the field looking to make a substantial impact as he did a week ago. We mentioned in the first half that the wind was at the back of Rhode Island. As you take a look going into the second half, Flag continues to whip, and the pole swinging. At times it got all the way to that 45-degree angle. You can see the flags at the top of your screen now, and it's going hard left to right. So it'll be at the back of Monterey Bay in this second half. Underway in Seaside as we close out the weekend in the championship. Continue USL Kickoff, presented by Terminix. Is that bugging you, Ricky?
Not at all. Yourself?
If it did, I know the right people to
There
call. Sent away by Siaha. And that's going to hang in there. Archimed went down. The referee didn't see enough. Whoa, they're going to bring it back. Well, if you're going to say that this is a foul, how is it not a red? Look, you can argue whether or not it's a foul. That's one thing. I'm thinking Stoneman has to be... The fact he's saying fine a yellow, I think gives you an idea that he knows that could have been much, much worse.
He needs to go play the lotto, Grant Stoneman. It should be a red card, no question about it. It's the last offender. Archimed, he's beat. Denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. Last offender, you can make maybe an argument that Yao's there, but still.
He pointed in the direction of where Yao was and said he was there.
But still, I do think Archimed has about 2 to 3 yards in front of Yao. It should be a red. And I do think if you're Rhode Island, you get away with one here. You just see Archimed in the screen just laughing in disbelief.
Wow. And we just showed you the wind. Super powered kick from Siaha, aided by those 15-mile-an-hour winds.
And it's the second time that a Rhode Island player just missed times or misjudges the flight of the ball. First, it was Coque Vegas, and then it was Grant Stoneman. But you have to feel hard done by. If you are Monterey Bay, you should have a man advantage for the remainder of this game.
Well, this is sort of that Goldilocks distance that we were talking about a little bit yesterday. Far enough out that you could have a go. Walmer Martinez. Must have been the wind.
We saw moments ago, earlier in this first half, his ability to get a ball up and down. It was a kind distance. But with the wind in your back, you don't need to hit it too hard. You just need to focus on your technique. This time's that one, Walmer Martinez.
Wind, toughest element to play in
100%,
as a player? Yeah.
100%. I mean, we've seen it with now Grant Stoneman and then Coque Vegas. You just can't read the flight. And that's why you think you want to keep the ball on the deck and move it a little bit quicker instead of playing more direct.
Glenn working through Ibarra. Over to Stoneman. Brave, gritty, described with all the adjectives you'd hope for your franchise center back cornerstone. Ball whipped across, away from Quizera. Retained by Nadarce and back from McGlynn. Just got over Baca, slid away from Dequa. Galloway with his head up. Was able to find Dixon. Fair. Dixon! Ooh, he's gonna pay for that. He just left a hole in the wall. The frustrated kick.
You should be finding the target at least, Alex Dixon, but watch a little hesitation for Morby Fair. He's just waiting for Alex Dixon to break the line of pressure. Rhode Island just gets caught once again, flat-footed, getting caught on the ball. No one tracks Alex Dixon. He just mishits it. He does not mishit when he hits the wall. The frustration for Alex Dixon, who hasn't really had the much success that you would expect.
Ball through now, Fuson. Eventually got to Siaha, and he may have caught a cleat. Son saying just going for the ball. Ian Siaha, good moment. Sportsmanship, pass it on. Dequa's not going to get possession much easier than that. There's a lot of space here. And a good movement to recover by the sliding Enriquez. Actually picked up a little knock in training this week. Just left a bit in the lurch potentially. By the way, how much do you think it cost to replace the sign down on the other end that Dixon just left a hole in? That's not cheap, right?
Yeah, that's not cheap. Oh.
That's forever.
Well, maybe 1,000?
Really? Dixon's playing today for free, folks.
That's why he was so upset. His goal bonus, assist bonus.
Well, if he gets a goal or an assist that puts Monterey Bay ahead, I think they might waive it.
And even it out.
Ball launched into the hands of Koke. Did you ever get a stupid fine or two? I'm not talking about like the team. Maybe I am. I've seen the Louisville list of finable offenses before, and I gotta tell you, that's one way to really set the tone in a locker room. But usually it's like music choices and being late to practice, or
wrong apparel.
Yeah, wrong apparel
like
was high up the list.
Yeah. We had one that was no phones at team meals.
Interesting. When you were playing, it was more like beepers, though, right?
Pagers. Close enough.
Keeper was out, and Siaha got back, and that ball was nowhere close. Turnbull raises his hand, got a little frisky.
But he's been very good, Turnbull. Just his vision, always looking forward as an outside back, just mishits it. But he's a player that Connell Smith was highlighted on our phone call, said, look, he comes out from MLS. How do we get him back to that level? The motivation that he has, he needs to prove himself, but he has to understand that success lies on the team first, and then individual success comes after that. He's really bought into what Rhode Island is trying to do. You see how good he is on both sides of the ball, and he's going to be, I do think, a very interesting player this season for Rhode Island.
By the way, I know the car you got. You know, impressive for sure. But were you around for like iPhone when you were drafted? Like that was like iPhone 2, right?
I was more of a sidekick and BlackBerry guy.
You? Okay,
no,
that's
no,
what
I had an iPhone. Don't date me that much.
Angling, that's way out from Quizera. What's wrong with a sidekick?
Oh, they're amazing.
I know. The world would be so much better if we just went back to I'm not saying everything was perfect then. I'm just saying
life was more simple.
It was. Get off my lawn, Ricky. I'm starting to treat him like he's Richard.
Watch out. Nice little move there.
Weaving around, and finally the ball pops free. That's going to be a foul. That's as fast as you'll see a yellow card come out. And another one for dissent. Turnbull went up to defend Ibarra right in the face of the referee. And all of a sudden, half the field for Rhode Island is on yellow cards.
And he does think he gets fouled here. Turnbull out to the nutmeg from Archimed. Nothing there. The frustration on the follow through. Yes, it's a foul from Ibarra. And then the frustration from number 3, Rhode Island Kit. So now you have 2 players in the center of the park if you're Connell Smith on a yellow card and 2 players on your back line. Ibarra, Brito, Stoneman, and Turnbull need to be very good in terms of their discipline and positioning for the remainder of this game.
So that's 4 on cards for Rhode Island. It's Guzman.
This catch is Fuson, the right arm. We saw how important set pieces were in the first half, so if you're Ibarra, don't want to hit it too heavy and have it just hang up in the wind. A lot of numbers at that far post.
That did just stay in. That was perfectly weighted. Yao. I got a text from league resident historian Nicholas Murray. Says he's been around long enough in this league to remember Long Tan leaving a hole in a plywood panel next to the home locker room of the Citrus Bowl, just like Alex Dixon's. Now, if you've been around this league for a decade, and these are relatively new teams for Rhode Island, literally a new team, what I really want you to do is just soak in all this Long Tan knowledge. You want to talk about simpler times?
100%.
Wazara. Guzman. Siaha ranges over. He's by his lonesome, so he'll launch.
And it's the right idea there from Chuy Enriquez. Just execution is lacking. Frank Yallop mentioned that he wants his side to be able to change the point of attack with the width, and that's not what the doctor ordered.
Oh, man. Starting to get to one of those days. Ball through. That'll do the job, Enriquez. That will not.
It's about the third time now Chuy Enriquez gets himself in a very good opportunity in the final third, but just misplaces it. When you want to slot it low and hard across the face of that 6-yard box, where Archieman could just run onto it. Body position's all wrong. He's leaning back. That's why it raises.
Guzman, the response in, well, right at stoppage time, right at 45 minutes. Albert Deke was opener for Rhode Island. It's 1-1 here approaching the hour mark in Seaside. Good slide, Guzman, over half a dozen tackles, most in the game. He was part of that 3-back, right, in San Diego, and they liked him as a wide ball-playing center back, Guzman. Obviously, Monterey Bay has opened up with a 4-back to begin the year, but the options are there if they ever want to go that route, that they could go to a 3, and it would make some logical sense too.
And I do think you look at the outside backs that they have as well, right? They're very attack-minded. More Donor, Walmer, Martinez.
Right.
They never need a second invitation. Watch out.
Siaha coughs it up. Ibarra. Ibarra whips the cross and sent away by Galloway. Baca breaks it up. Nice crowd again here. It's a wonderful crowd for Monterey Bay. And just the result they were looking for, 1-0 against Phoenix. They're looking for the go-ahead now into the final third. Whoa, look at the English on that. It's held up by Koke as Walmer Martinez, to your very point about wingbacks getting forward. Here was a moment ago from Rhode Island.
But just watch all players in a gold jersey on their heels. If you're Connor McGlynn, if you are Quazera, you have to have the ability to get yourself in a more advantageous opportunity. You're sitting around about 18, 19 yards out. The ball falls kindly about 12 yards. If you're there to clean look on goal, those are the little things that if you're Connell Smith, you're going to watch the film back and say, we need to get more numbers in the attacking 18-yard box because the opportunities are there, but how do we take those opportunities and put more pressure on opposing back lines?
Monterey Bay is about to find a way to put pressure on a back line. Tristan Trager and Chase Boone are about to enter. Boone coming back from injury. Did not make the bench last week. Fair. Enriquez leading Donor. Darce got a piece. Donor wins a free kick. So make the change now or wait. The fourth official just asked Frank Yala. They'll wait a little longer, it appears. Nope, now they'll make the change. So that's it for Chuy Enriquez, who just never was on today for whatever reason. Santa Clara native gets a good round of applause nevertheless. These are subs 2 and 3 in the first window, so Monterey Bay can make the last 2 changes whenever they feel like. Archimed comes out, his best chance, that chip with Koke way off his line that he ultimately put off outside netting in the first half. Archimed was on a yellow card. I wonder what Tristan Trager's middle name is. They're playing that song. TNT? Nicholas? I'm assuming there's a reason. Yeah. Gotta find a good Chase or Boone song. Ball lined into the area. Rhode Island pop it away, and now the run out's on. Full speed ahead for Rhode Island into the attacking half. Deke was making a run and ultimately poked away right to Donor during an elongated Brito exploration. Into the area, ball bouncing! Rhode Island lead! Oh, he's done it again! Albert Dequa, a brace! 2-1 Rhode Island!
Goal scored by Rhode Island, number 10, Albert.
Suspect defending for Monterey Bay in their own 18-yard box. You never want to let a ball bounce. A player that we highlighted, Joey Brito, he's been massive for Rhode Island, but just watch the lack of intensity, the lack of responsibility, and the lack of man marking. He let the ball bounce, calls finally to Albert Dequa, and he's never going to miss from about 3 yards out, one of the easiest finishes of his career, and he gets his brace on the day, and more importantly, Rhode Island, once again on the road, take the lead.
Second of the match, second of the season, in the second game for Rhode Island, looking for that statement first win. Here is a bagel corner kick. Back post header down toward the line and away. Wilmer Martinez, that rode his arm down. And a stoppage for a potential head injury. That's Kai Green. Credit to Turnbull, who's gone to check on him.
Really good ball into a dangerous area. As you get a second bite at the apple, last-ditch defending effort from Quizera, but Kai Green just a little bit better than Turnbull to get himself on the end of that. Just wanted that much more.
Change for Rhode Island. Joe Brito comes off. He was on the yellow card. This is Mark Doyle coming in, the former Irish First Division Player of the Year. Won the Irish First Division, also won the Irish Cup. First sub for Rhode Island. Boone. Header left some work to be done. Adarce knocks it down in front of Trager. Dikwa gets his second today. A lot of rumors about where Dikwa could go over the offseason as the campaign ended. Certainly MLS interest, but Rhode Island, the right fit, right opportunity, right moment. That was offside. Let's take a moment, look back at Dikwa doubling his money.
We just watched the defensive mishaps for Monterey Bay. As Guzman, he shifts over. No one rotates over, whether it is Baca, whether it is Kai Green. Then it's a 2v1. As a result of that, if you're Maury Donor, you have to get goal side. It's just one mistake after another for Monterey Bay in their defensive structure, and Frankie Alp is going to be extremely frustrated because it's just pure soccer IQ. Get goal side. If one player steps out, who provides the coverage? Really bad goal to concede if you're at home for Monterey Bay.
Baca. You know, I think he got away with that until the arms extended. I really do. And McGlynn commits the foul. So there's the step from McGlynn. Fine. He's separated from the ball. If his arms don't toss him aside, I think he's probably scot-free.
The extension of the arms that gets him in trouble.
Early ball seeking Trager. There's Koke.
It's going to be a different look for both sides going forward now. If you are Monterey Bay, Tristan Trager, completely different number 9 than Archimed. Very clever in his movement. A player that Frankie Alp mentioned that he just wanted to work with him, plain and simple. He wanted him, whether he was at Charleston Battery before he went over there. Constant conversations with his agent. Is extremely pleased to have him in the locker room and had the ability just to put him in the lineup. Also Chase Boone, he's going to play on this right-hand side. Ability to be vertical and direct. Look for him to try to take players on the other side, the flip side for Connell Smith, as Doyle is going to play next to Albert Dikwa. And you mentioned the success of Doyle, 10 goals last season. Has the ability to find the back of the net. 2 physical number 9s spearheading the attack for the visitors here.
Dieter for Dixon with 20 minutes remaining. Well, Dixon's about to find out whether or not there's any trouble he needs to quell with the operations staff.
Entering the match, number 6, Ryan Dieter.
And here comes Dieter. So 4th sub for Monterey Bay. They've got 1 remaining. Dieter came as part of an open trial, invited to preseason, ultimately signed out of UC Davis. Actually played there with Max Glasser, who's not rostered today for Monterey Bay. Monterey Bay win it. Sent away. Rhode Island has a change in mind. They will not make it yet. Boone, he did get there. Boone head up, sprays it forward, fair. Fair cross and goal! Monterey Bay! And Trager has scored again, back-to-back games. His second in 3 games for the club. And the man that Frank Yallop had chased after for years, immediate dividends, 2-2.
Comes with the composure of Chase Boone, and I talked about his movement from Trager. You don't see it in the screen, but at the last second, slashes in front of Yao. As a number 9, the ability to lose your individual marker is so important to make your own space higher up the field. The movement, the composure, and the quality in the end from Trager, and he draws this game 2 apiece.
Wow. We got us a doozy to close out. Now there's 2 points hanging in the balance for the team that likely scores next. Wind hung that up there for quite some time. There's Fair. These 2 sides, 2,683 miles as the crow flies. It's a lot of flapping. In behind, offside. Messi comes in. And the Ghanaian put under immediate pressure. He's marking centrally, ball across, up and away from Karifa Yao. Now out. Connor McGlynn relieved of duty. That came at the goal. Interestingly, second sub. Rhode Island has the 3 subs remaining, but to use them all, they'd need to use a triple substitution. The wind continues to whip, and Rhode Island's running right into it. Fuson playing it ahead. Roll back, Quizera. Clearance, Quizera once more. Slips it ahead, onside, hung across, Doyle. Let's go back to the goal that levels this thing.
We talked about Monterey Bay and their back line. the lack of rotation, but at the end of this, you're going to see, yeah, he just gets caught flat-footed. Traeger's a lot quicker off the mark. No communication between Stoneman, Koke Vegas, and Yao. And as a number 9, you live and die by how opportunistic you can be in those slim margins. Really good goal from Tristan Trager.
Rhode Island a half XG better. They've gone on the road and shown well, but it's Monterey Bay that's got the home team's atmosphere at their back now, along with what's a whipping wind in Seaside. Awkwardly given away by Stoneman. Boone retained down the line. It's Donor. Donor toward Traeger. And he appeared to kick Koke as he reached out for the ball.
Really good ball here from Moby Fair that just breaks the line. An even better ball from Maury Donor. Takes a little bit of a deflection. Just have a little bit of Koke Vegas, but I do think the goalkeeper makes the most of it for sure.
Ball held up effectively by Doyle. Becerra. End line and brushed out of the play. Chamesi. Koke just sat down on the other end of the field.
Good defending from Kai Green. So many times you see defenders leave their feet when not needed.
So it looked like he got kicked in the hand. Certainly that's what he said a moment ago. And now he's grabbing at his left hamstring area, having the athletic trainer take a look. This is the guy you bring in day one to sort of set the tone. He captains the team. He's one of 5 on their leadership council. Cano Smith cautioned us, just because you're not on the council doesn't mean that the guys can't lead in their own individual ways. But Cano played internationally, domestically, really high-level player without doubt, and played for great managers. The best teams, always the ones led by the players, and Koke is the one that he's entrusted with the armband from the jump. Jackson Lee is starting to get ready, and the problem for Rhode Island in part, yeah, they do have a sub. That's good news. They only have 1 window left, so if they make a change now and bring in Lee, they either have to be satisfied that that's their last change, or they need to add their final substitutes right now at 79 minutes, and whatever you put on the field, you're stuck with. So if you were to get the goal and put in Prince Sadie, he's going to have to see out the game. If you fall behind and leave Sadie out, suddenly you leave one of your most explosive weapons out of the equation. So this is the change Rhode Island fans certainly did not want to see. Koke Vegas comes out, and here's Jackson Lee, the 22-year-old who was drafted in the first round by LAFC in the MLS Super Draft, only to see Hugo Lloris signed to the club. So Lee is into the game, and now the 2 additional subs, Rhode Island's going to use them now. Welcome to the pro game, Jackson Lee. You just got thrust in on the road with 10 minutes left in a tie game. So they will get Prince Sadie into the game. And they're going to bring off Turnbull. So that is a really attack-minded sub. They've brought off an outside defender and brought in a winger.
Be very interested to see what Connell Smith has up his sleeve now. Do they stay in a back four? Who drops into that right back position? Or do they pivot into a back three and play with two wing backs?
And you're asking that question, so is Frank Yallop, because there is no film of this. Is that ever going to hit the ground? It did, and Monterey Bay try and put something on Lee as early as they can. Boone. Off the bounce, Donor.
It does seem like Rhode Island has elected to go into a back three or back five, whatever you want to call it, with Quizera as this near-sided wingback, Huson as a right-sided wingback, and your back three will be, Darce, Yao, and Grant Stoneman. So if you're Monterey Bay, you need to get the ball and try to create overloads. The more you can pin back and make this Rhode Island side into a back five, the more real estate you're going to have to operate in right in front of them, because there is going to be an overload centrally. 10+ remaining minutes. You need to let the ball move and let the ball sweat.
I'll add this about the decision that had to be made there. Don't get me wrong, maybe the plan was always to go in more attacking mode at this stage of the game. You feel like you can take all 3 points. But Turnbull also picked up a completely unnecessary yellow card for dissent earlier in the game. That's the kind of stuff that forces you out of the equation when suddenly you've got an issue that you need to take care of, like your goalkeeper coming out. Donor will donate a corner to the cause. It is a bagel corner kick in the 82nd, and a rookie goalkeeper in his first pro game and his 3rd pro minute.
So if I'm Frank Yallop here, I'm telling whoever goes over to the corner flag just to whip this ball in right on top of the 6-yard box, and you test him, and you test him early. You put a body on him, you put traffic right in front of him, and you just cause chaos. What a really good opportunity here to get your 3rd goal on the day for Monterey Bay.
Is there a goal to be had here? Does Monterey Bay grab the lead? And that is everything that you did not say to do.
Frustrating for Frank Yallop. Those are little things as you progress into a higher level, when a player comes on to the field this late, you want to test him. As Prince Sadie makes his 100th regular season appearance in the championship. But you want to test a player. You want him to get a rude awakening on what it means to walk across that white line.
Quizera, that's a rude awakening for Quizera. He and Donor share a moment. It's well defended. Quizera fled the Congo at 9 years old, ended up in Utah, ended up a 1st-round pick for Montreal, where he spent the last 2 seasons, played 12 games. Got more time under Wilfred Nancy than he did under the new manager there. And a free kick for Monterey Bay. Won by Trager. Similar advice the last time around?
100%. And you want to hit it about head height. You don't want to get it caught up into the wind. You're aiming from right between that 6-yard box and penalty mark. So for your lead, how decisive can you be coming off your line? You do not want to get caught in no man's land as a goalkeeper.
Walmer Martinez stands over the ball. Already an assist off a free kick today. Martinez, epic ball! It's wide. It was a defensive touch that guided it there. It was Fuson, it appeared, that kept it away from Guzman.
The teasing ball at the back post. Fuson does just enough right in front of Kai Green to poke it out for a corner kick, but those are the service that you expect from Walmart Martinez.
Bagel corner kick. Dieter bouncing ball whipped in! Monterey Bay, it won't count! It's offside! And Rhode Island going the other way. See it broken up. So you might think, how's it offside on a corner? And I think at first glance, the referee has this right. Rhode Island fans, welcome to a league with no VAR.
We're looking at the bottom of the screen, the secondary action from Kai Green and Guzman. Since Kai Green is onside, but it's this one here. You see there's a player right by the goalkeeper, but the question is for the center referee, does Guzman, does he affect the play? If he does, it's a no-goal, but if he does not, the goal should stand. But once again, Monterey Bay, I do think, have an argument to be had.
Oh man, this game's been nutty. My biggest question was that touched over the line by the last player at the near post? And if it was, that's your answer. Header snapped aside by Ibarra. Dieter. Foul goes against Monterey Bay. Let's go back to that offside call again.
So there's two actions here, but you're looking at the movement at the far post. That's the first one, but there is a player right in front of Lee. So Kai Green is still there, and the player's still there, Quizera. But you look at number 5 at the far post, it's Guzman. If you're Alexis De Silva, our center referee, if he affects that.
He's saying I didn't touch it, it was green.
But the only argument that I see on my end that if you call it offside, you have to say Guzman affects it, which I don't agree with. I think it should be a goal. I think Kai Green puts it over the line. Guzman doesn't affect it. There's not a defender near him whatsoever.
My first look at it, I didn't see the defender that was bodying right in front of the goalkeeper.
Yeah. And he keeps Kai Green on.
Yes.
So the only thing that I can imagine that our center referee, Alexis De Silva, can say that he's offside is because Guzman is affecting the play, which I do not agree with. I do think Kai Green is open at the back post. No one in a Rhode Island jersey near him. He puts it in.
And ultimately, it's the AR as well.
Exactly.
It's looking down the line at a giant, confusing mass of bodies. Who got the final touch on that? It would be extraordinarily difficult to know from there, especially with both Guzman and Green at that post. It's very possible it was unclear to him who hit that last, because the first guy to turn around and celebrate was Guzman.
Yeah. And that's the only thing that I can see. That's why you call the goal back. Obviously, we have the luxury for replay. But in my eyes, it does seem like Kai Green is the one who pushes it over the line. And it should stand as a goal for Monterey Bay.
Dequa, the double today. The first 2 goals by a Rhode Island FC player. They got an own goal last week to equalize in their inaugural game at home against New Mexico in second half stoppage time. The nature of this league doesn't give you the opportunity at a 90 or 90 plus result-changing goal all that often, but Rhode Island might be seeking a second in as many games. Pinged ahead, Boone pursues, Boone's got it, Boone under pressure, picked up by Baca. Can't put that on a platter much better. Fuson defending. Ibarra chasing. Corner Monterey Bay. And it'll come in stoppage time. A bagel corner kick. That wind continues to whip in toward the goal. Dieter. 6 added minutes. Donor. Laid off by Galloway and given away by Monterey Bay. Only to see it caught between the feet of Doyle. Twice Rhode Island has led on the road. It's going to hang in the air. That is well offside. Good intervention by Yao. Through for Trager again, Yao again. 5 more minutes. Trager. Ooh, Lee. Got popped by Galloway.
It's a hard collision between the sub, both subs in fact, Lee and Galloway. I don't think there's any ill will there. Did not look fun. Galloway does not hold up his run whatsoever. You see the frustration from the goalkeeper, Lee. It is a foul on Galloway, that is for sure.
Well, we were told 6 minutes of stoppage. The reality is this is going to end up being far more. And Galloway being looked at. Here's an added note. That's an apparent knock to the head. As a result, Monterey Bay, they do have 1 sub remaining, so they could simply make the sub, or they could say it is a use of the concussion substitute rule, which would allow Rhode Island an additional sub window as well. Though you wouldn't imagine that would be something they'd utilize at this stage. The only options you have, by the way, for Monterey Bay, both defenders off the bench. Take a look.
What did you say earlier in the match? 15-yard penalty?
Yep. And he got a yellow card. Quite the bandage. Apparently clear to continue. So that was about 1.5 minutes. So if we get to 97, 30, 98, would you really be surprised anymore? Oh, wow. .20-mile-an-hour winds. Rhode Island does find a way to win this. They will say certainly it felt like they were going uphill in the second half. just continues to run, and Darce will take it to the line. Sometimes you look up the weather, and you've got your app, and there's a beautiful sun or rain cloud. This just shows the literal existence of wind. It ignored whether or not the sun was or was not shielded from sight. Here's Lee. Time at George Mason on to West Virginia. From Perth, Australia. He is a dual citizen, so he doesn't take up one of the international roster spots as well. It's always a tough give for a goalkeeper. He may play a big role moving forward, and he may do it against some of the best in the league. Rhode Island's got one of the toughest three-game stretches any team will face all year coming up. If they take something out of this game on the road, it'll be quite an accomplishment.
Especially the form that Monterey Bay walk into this game with as well. The win against Phoenix, Orange County as well.
We've gone the 6 minutes. Surely there's plenty in Rhode Island thinking, blow that final whistle. The injury stoppage likely gives us another minute here. It'll be a throw for Monterey Bay. One last chance here. Baca into the air. Fuson handling that really well, and he got fouled by Dieter. Is that enough for Rhode Island to take this over the line?
Been very impressed with Fuson. Showing the ability to play different positions, but also the quality on both sides of the ball. And a very impactful signing for Rhode Island early on in this season.
Well, now Rhode Island powering forward. The slide, Dequa goes down, free kick. It is outside the penalty area by a slim margin. Surely Walmer Martinez knew that. And Rhode Island will have a chance to walk this off.
Just no need for Walmer Martinez to go down. Baca's there to provide the coverage. I don't think there's a lot of contact, but give credit to Albert Dequa. He goes down, he feels, and he makes the most of it. And more importantly, what a fantastic opportunity this is for Rhode Island. 90+8 at this time, just to whip this thing right in front of Siaha and take all 3 points to the East Coast.
This could be Rhode Island history right here. Seeking their first win. They seemingly now assured a point, given how much time has elapsed. And there's no guarantee if this comes out, they'll even get a second chance. Flair for the dramatic, this Rhode Island team. Most of the services come from Quizera. Quizera chipping! That'll get all the way through. Dequa's gonna chase. Can they keep it in? It's a throw. The referee's gonna allow this to play, potentially. There's an injury on the line. It's the goalkeeper who went down, and for the first time this year, we're gonna tap the 100 on this new graphics package.
Awkward coming together from Siaha as he comes off his line. catches truly messy.
Carlos Herrera is the backup goalkeeper. Siaha nosed ahead at the end of preseason. Like, you talk to Frank Yallop and he's saying it's close. Those two are right there. Tough decision for the Monterey Bay head coach. We've seen the goalkeeper for Rhode Island go down on one end. Siaha will remain. Could you imagine now in the 101st minute? Ball lined over, taken out of the air. That tips over the bar. You're looking at the watch and you're thinking, is there really any time left? Whistle to mouth. We're done here. Full time in Seaside, California. What a roller coaster of a Sunday afternoon game. Monterey Bay and Rhode Island will each take a point. It is the first road point in Rhode Island history. Monterey Bay come from behind twice to take something from this first ever meeting between the teams.
And you knew it was going to be competitive, especially with the respect level between Frank Yallop and Connell Smith. Umbertico makes history. First brace in Rhode Island history as well. Wouldn't want it any other way. Your big-time offseason signing, Golden Boot, last season, very clinical in front of the 18-yard box. And I do think if you're Monterey Bay and Frank Yallop, especially in that second half, you feel like you lost 2 points. It was all one-way traffic. Your subs came in and raised the level. And then, over the course of 100 minutes, quality football match.
And Monterey Bay will certainly think that the goal at the end should have been given, instead disallowed. Tonight's man of the match is presented by Golden Memorial. Tristan Trager is second of the year in 3 games.
I mean, he changed the game when he came on the field. Just his presence to stay high and to work in the pockets of space, whether in beyond, whether it's popping in between the midfield and defensive line, and his movement inside that 18-yard box. Like you said, Mike, second goal on the season already for Tristan Trager, and he's a play that Frank Yallop wanted to work with. Good impact coming off the bench.
And that, for Monterey Bay, is the equalizer that ultimately gets them a point. And Rhode Island and Monterey Bay both remain undefeated in the young campaign. Dixon taking a chunk out of the venue. Ultimately, it's Monterey Bay that take a chunk out of Rhode Island. They get 2 equalizers. It finishes 2-2. We wrap it up on the other side of the break.
At Taylor Farms, our goal is to create healthier lives by creating healthy, fresh foods. A stronger community is a win for everyone.
That's why each time the Monterey Bay Football Club scores a goal, Taylor Farms will donate $500 to a local nonprofit. Healthy goals, healthy lives. A more perfect union.
We are Union!
Welcome back to our post-game coverage. Monterey Bay fans don't quite know what to think about that game, and who can blame them? Rhode Island, however, will fly back with a happy point. Finishes 2-2 at full time. Here are the highlights. And it's really the goals that draw all of our attention. We start in the 41st minute, and Rhode Island get the goal they were really waiting for by one of their own, Albert Diqua.
Great ball, even better finish, but Houston I thought was terrific for Rhode Island. The ability to break the line with Albert Diqua, and you expect nothing less from Diqua to get his first on the day, and set pieces were the best friend for Monterey Bay. Walmart Martinez up and down, just watch the pace and the bend on the ball. Guzman doesn't need to do a lot. Just get it on target and you give yourself a chance. 1-1 at this moment in time, but the response from Rhode Island, really good. Brito filling in the gaps. If you're Frank Dial, if you're going to look at this defending and be scratching your head, number one, you never want to let the ball bounce in the 18-yard box, and there's no rotation whatsoever. There's no coverage. And that man, once again, Albert Diqua, gets his brace for Rhode Island.
Well, the response in the 72nd minute, bad giveaway. It's Trager at the end of this, but a couple of nice balls down the line to set it up and fair across.
It's the off-the-ball movement. First is Case Boone, then it's fair. And then it's a movement from Tristan Trager. If you're a defender, you always want to have your hips open so you can see the ball and the player. Watch Yao gets caught ball watching. Tristan Trager says, thank you very much. I'll slash right in front of you. Put the ball in the back of the net. 2-2. That's how we end.
And Trager now a couple goals early in the season. Here's a look at the full-time stats. Chance for your final thoughts, Ricky.
I do think if you're Frank Gallup, there were some questionable calls in that match. No red card, and there was a goal that was given offside. So you have to feel hard done by, but give credit to Cardinale Smith and Rhode Island. Over 3,000 miles traveled to come into this hostile environment, to salvage a point, to fight for a point, and the way that they did it, this Rhode Island side is for real.
And so that's all she wrote in Seaside today. Chances galore and quite a physical game. Couple goals deemed offside. Ultimately, Rhode Island do take a point out of the occasion, and Monterey Bay remain undefeated through 3 games on the young campaign. For Ricky Lopez, Aspen, our entire team in Seaside, beyond Mike Watt saying thanks for watching, and so long for now.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.